you say, tell me a story, and it's going to come up with a story. And you say, make it
Mhm.
about, wizards and dragons, and it's going to make it about wizards and dragons. Or if you say, make it a love story, maybe it's going to take something like Romeo and Juliet.
Hey there, and welcome to a brand new episode of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hassman. Joining me today is a brand new rock star. He specializes in AI and its impact on sales. He's the CEO and founder of Bigly Sales. Thomas Ryan, thanks for joining me.
Hey, Kirby. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So I'm super curious to dive into this topic. So we talk a lot about AI right now in all areas of life, but I don't know that we talk a lot about it in sales. So can you talk about how you can use AI to transform the sales process?
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing, I think, totally changes the game. There's a lot of different ways you can use AI. So some things that I've seen for a while now are using it to record meetings, using it to kind of say when someone's going off track. There's a lot of things that people have been doing like that. What we're doing is kind of the next level, is we're actually using the AI to field a phone call and be able to handle what a customer service rep would handle. So either for support or for sales, typically off of a lead process. So
Okay.
someone's using Google or Facebook or SEO, they have a lead that comes in. The AI grabs that lead as soon as it comes in, and it starts communicating with that lead. Literally can, pick up the phone, call them, answer any sort of qualification or intake questions, and then either schedule that person, do a live transfer to a licensed agent, be able to send a Stripe link, whatever you may want to do, the AI can be programmed to do it. So I think an easier way to put it is anything right now that people are doing on a computer, anything that is, gathering information and transferring that to some other place, the AI can do better, faster, and cheaper than a person.
Wow. Now, is it like getting it trained to do that? I know that there's the idea of asking questions. Do you have to put information into it? How do you get the voice right? What is that stuff that you manage, or that to me that
Yeah.
would be one of the challenges.
So for voices, check out 11 Labs. 11 Labs is my go-to for voice. They're amazing, like
Okay.
absolutely an amazing, amazing company. You can clone any voice. They have a ton of voices there for you to play with. You can manipulate them. You can make them deeper. You can make them lighter. You can, you can do whatever you want to the voice to change it around and make it exactly the way that you want. So we can take any voice, we can clone it, we can upload it into our system, and make it work flawlessly. So that voice piece is easy. What was the first part of the question there?
Well, just how do you train it? Like, how do you get
So
it to know the answers?
yeah, so what we did, and this is a little bit tougher, but what we did is we take all the data and we put it in. So the simplest way to do it is just literally to set up a text document with all the questions and answers that you might have. So we have the 20 most common sales questions. Right, what's the price? How fast is delivery? Are there any delivery charge? Whatever those questions may be. Is there a warranty? Do you have any reviews? Where we know these are the 20 most common questions, and then we make sure that we write an answer for anything that's applicable for those questions. And then some why us, company history, things like that. And we feed all of that into the AI. And then we set the temperature very low. Temperature just goes on a scale to 100. And basically it says, how creative do you want it to be? And if you set it up to 100, it's going to make up things left and right. And if you set it down, 1, it's going to be very, very true to what's written. And we set the temperature very low on it. And then we tell it, if you don't know the answer to something, don't make it up. And we literally have to tell it this, because what the AI was really designed to do, you're talking about writing stories, coming up with things. So, it's supposed to make things up. It's supposed to you say, tell me a story, and it's going to come up with a story. And you say, make it about, Wizards and Dragons, and it's going to make it about Wizards and Dragons. Or if you say make it a love story, maybe it's going to take something like Romeo and Juliet, right? But it's going to take what was written before and, kind of mash it together and come up with its own story. So you really have to be very explicit with it, with the instructions that you give it. And
Yeah.
this is a computer. It's not magic. It's not like thinking in the background here about, what it wants to do this afternoon. You give it an input, it gives you an output. That's the way it works, at least for today and for the foreseeable future. I think anyone who's kind of worked with this technology in detail knows the Terminator robots aren't coming right now.
Good to know. Good to know.
It doesn't actually think.
Yeah.
It's the best way I can describe it is, have you used Google where you start typing in something and then it gives you like, here's the 6 most common things. So if you're looking at medication, it might be drug interactions, it might be side effects, it might be, whatever. If I'm looking for restaurants, it might ask near me, top rated, right?
Yeah. That makes sense.
That it works, except instead of guessing 2 words, it's guessing, entire paragraphs based on everything that's ever been written on the internet.
That's cool. That's really cool. So, I mean, obviously you are an expert in the AI, but you're working with people in the sales field. So what's like some mistakes you see people making in sales?
So for me, sales was always about 2 things. Let me give you the biggest mistake that I see. Speed to lead, right? That you'll have a lead come in at some places and it might not get called for a day or 2 or a week or 2 or ever. Right. So when a lead comes in, let's think about this. So we're doing a lot of work with home services right now. If a guy's calling you because he's got a leaky sink or there's a leak coming through the roof, how fast is that person going to end up hiring someone?
As soon as humanly possible, right?
As soon as humanly possible. So what they're going to do is they're going to call the first place, and if they don't answer, they're going to call the second place, and if they don't answer, they're going to call the third place, and if that guy's not available for 2 weeks, they're going to call the fourth place, and they're going to keep going until they can get someone to their house that day, the next day, because it's an emergency. So anything that is one of these emergency type tasks, people are going to be very aggressive in trying to hire that person.
Yeah.
So the close rate doesn't drop by the day; it drops by the second or the minute. Literally, if you call that guy who has a leaky roof back a half hour later, you're probably too late.
Yeah.
So one thing the AI can do is 24/7, 365 in English and Spanish. It can immediately answer that call and get someone scheduled. Right. So for any service type business, anyone where they're trying to schedule, I think it's really a no-brainer to get that set up as just, kind of the most basic use case that there is to go in, qualify, a buyer. In this case, it's very simple. It's like, do you own the house? Yes, I own it. Okay, great. We'll have someone at your house tomorrow. And that's it. So speed to lead would be my number one thing that I see folks getting wrong. Most of the issues I see with sales are most of them aren't very high level. Most of them are blocking and tackling type things. So speed to lead would be number one. Number 2, you got to qualify a person. Are they a buyer? Do they have the ability and the autonomy to buy from you? Do they have the money to buy from you? Right? Are they a good fit based on their industry and what they do? So a lot of sales reps are so, desperate to get a sale that they just try to sell to everyone, and they don't really know who they're talking to. They don't know what their title is. They don't know what the company does. They don't know anything about them. So you can't sell to that person effectively because you have no idea what they do. So I would always start a sales call with one, qualifying that person and figuring out if they're a good fit for what we do, and then trying to figure out, we do an inbound sales process now, not a cold outbound sales process. So the regulators are pushing everyone that way. So that's going to be more and more common as the way that everyone gets their leads in. But then trying to figure out what their pain points are, what the problem is that they're dealing with. to see if we have a good solution, and then going from there. And I think that's really what everyone should be starting with. And if you're running a sales organization, it's you know um, where are you getting your leads? Contacting those leads quickly, qualifying those leads effectively. That's 1, 2, and 3. And if you do that, a lot of the other stuff is going to take care of itself.
Yeah, I agree. Speed is a superpower in today's world. That is for sure. So that's cool. Okay, final question for you, Thomas. Like you're a little ahead of the curve on this topic with AI. So, what are some advancements you see in the near future for AI and sales?
So right now, a lot of folks are using IVR, right? So even the guys that say they're using AI, they're using something like an Air AI, which has done a lot of marketing. Well, that's not AI. That's an IVR solution. It's the same tech that they've been using for the last, 25 years. When you call any big company, it's like, for this, press 1, for this, press 2, for this, press 3. You know, where I see is, one, everything's going to move to a real AI, real generative AI, where you ask a question and understands what you say and answers the question that you asked, not a preset answer of one of 20 answers. And even where we give AI the answers to common questions, it's still going to answer what you asked specifically in a way that makes sense, even if it incorporates some of that data that we gave it. Um, that's one. Everything's moving to generative AI. And I see that generative AI. I don't know if you saw what they just released at OpenAI yesterday.
I did not.
They made a model that, as far as I can tell, the way it speaks and everything, instead of being based on the written word, they made this model, or constructed a big portion of this model, using the spoken word, where the AI actually talks. And not only does it sound human, right now we can clone a voice, and that's easy, right? That tech's been there for a while. Where you run into the issues is having it actually sound and speak like a human, that there's no uhs and ums and fillers and all the other things that people do during a conversation, where they're
Right.
thinking, things that just seem natural. You know, when you say, "Hi, how are you today?" "I'm great. How are you?" Right? It's just kind of a natural reaction how you handle these things. And you know, the AI hasn't been great at that as of yet. So the new model, I think, is really, really exciting, that OpenAI just came out with. Where I see it going is, it's going to be hyper persuasive. Um, it's going to be able to, where the AI for sales will be in a couple of years is all of your information. By the way, privacy died. Privacy died long ago. It's dead. It's buried. They had the parade. It's done. So all your information is available for sale, and it's not expensive. It's going to know who you are. It's going to know everything you've ever written. It's going to, probably have all of that stuff available real time, where when it's talking to Kirby, it's going to know, hey, Kirby is this age, he has this many kids, right? This is how much money he makes, this sort of car he drives, this
Yep.
is his religion, this is his political affiliation, these are the websites he's been visiting, these are the people he's been giving money to, here's all the stuff he's ever written on X, here's the videos that he's liked. It's going to know everything about you, and based on that information, it's going to be hyper persuasive, much more so than a normal sales rep. It's going to be able to do things in a way that normal people would never be able to do. Will know what sort of voice that you like, the age, everything about it. In video, it's not there yet. If you look at like Synthesia or one of those, like you can look at it in about 2 seconds. You can tell it's fake. We're going to have lifelike avatars that are going to speak in a totally human way and are going to be hyper persuasive. So I think there's going to be in real life, and then everything else is basically going to be handled by the machines.
Wow.
And I see that in every profession. I see that with with doctors, with lawyers, you're going to have the specialists who are, excellent at it. And that lower level that exists in all these professions, I see just being kind of gone for almost everything.
Wow. Wow. It's going to be impactful. It's such an interesting kind of time to sort of live through. So I appreciate your perspective on this, Thomas. Now, if somebody wants to learn a little more about you, where can they go?
Go to bigleysales.com. If you're interested, what we're doing is we're replacing your call center with AI. So if you want to save 80 or 90% on your costs and increase your conversion rate and go to 24/7, 365 in any language, be able to do sales, you know where to find us, bigleysales.com.
Cool. Well, Thomas, this has been super interesting. I appreciate it. We'll have to do it again sometime, okay?
Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate all your time.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.